It turns out a lot of our beliefs are pretty loosely held, is one of the takeaways from behavioral economics. Because when a behavioral economics nudge or choice architecture works in changing behavior, what it implies is that the belief that underlied the prior behavior was not very strongly held. The example of the organ donor default is overused but quite elegant. Basically, when you go to sign up for your driver's license or renew your driver's license, there's a box that you tick or don't tick to ask whether or not you want to be an organ donor. And it turns out that the default matters a lot. If you have to check for yes, then most people choose no. If you have to check for no, then most people choose yes. This is simplification, but you get the point. What this implies, of course, is that people don't have very strongly held beliefs about whether or not they should be an organ donor, and so they're susceptible to these small nudges in their environment. If you were raised in a household or in a religion that told you it was a sin to be an organ donor, or it was a sin to not be an organ donor, then what the box said, what the default said, should not influence your behavior that much. People don't have strong opinions, so they're willing or susceptible or vulnerable to the environment to tell them what their opinion should be. And the default can serve as a sort of proxy for what everyone else does, which is when we don't know how to behave, we typically just look at what everyone else is doing. If we're in a novel situation, we don't know how to act, we look at what everyone else is doing, and then we adopt that behavior. Anyway, it turns out that people don't have very strongly held beliefs, or at least have beliefs that are susceptible to being changed by these relatively small environmental nudges. And I just think that this is a really interesting corollary to some of the behavioral economics thinking and behavioral economics research, that a lot of the rules by which we live our lives are not necessarily set in stone. I'm Ethan, and I talk about behavioral economics stuff sometimes. Let me know if you want to hear more.